Hi, everybody. Today I'm actually streaming on both channels, the Antinatalism Forum as well as the Black Anarchist Podcast channel. I just had a discussion last night about antinatalism, and so I really want to tie this into Juneteenth. Um, I'm also going to use this as an opportunity to promote my book. Although my book doesn't expressly mention antinatalism, I do reject procreation. Um, my book is really about homophobia in the Black community, but the subtext is anti-natalism. So I want to respond to this YouTuber by the name of Park Rose Permaculture. Her channel is mostly about gardening, which I do like that content, but I mean, she's a leftist, and I mean, she describes herself as a leftist. Um, which I'm not sure where anti-natalism falls politically, because a lot of people assume that anti-natalists are just a radical leftist. I'm not sure. I think anti-natalist actually it's really a conservative position. It's really about personal responsibility. I don't. It's not about government intervention or being a victim. It's about empowerment. And so um, yeah, y'all can post in the comment section. What do you think anti-natalists fall politically? Do you think that we're leftists? Where's why is it not showing? I see the comment, but it's not. Can y'all see it? I only see it about. Okay, I wish our culture would stop breeding and passing down their poverty and dysfunction. Well, that's what she tries to say in her video that she's debating or she's debunking anti-natalism as being white supremacy. Um, yeah, I think her arguments were just poorly thought. Like I don't think she even knows anything about anti-natalism. And let's just go ahead and get into it because I have so much to say. And then I'm going to get into my book, the chapter that does address anti-natalism. So without further ado, let's listen to what she has to say.
This probably deserves a longer video, but TikTok doesn't like it if I make too many videos in a day that are over a minute. But we need to talk real quick about antinatalism. Oh, it's eugenicist, and a lot of its thinkings are rooted in the Great Replacement theory and other white supremacy nonsense. Being a child-free individual is not the same thing as being an antinatalist. Antinatalists say we should all stop having babies, we should stop reproducing, we should stop creating children. So here,
right, because those who are child-free is mostly about their quality of life. They want to go shopping, they want to take vacations, they want to go out to fancy restaurants, and so they see children as a burden. And so, fine, if you don't want to have children for that, like I say, there is no reason to not have children that isn't completely justified. So if you want to do it because of your own quality of life, I don't necessarily have a problem with that. I mean, I think a more compelling reason would be because you don't want to impose suffering onto someone who didn't consent. But if you want to do this, if you, I mean, I guess we call them the selfish anti-natalists, right? But at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with that because I would rather you be a selfish anti-natalist than to be a selfish breeder. I would rather you not have children because you don't want the financial burden of raising a child than for you to have a child because you want the child to serve your needs, because you want validation and you're going to impose life onto someone just to enrich your life at someone else's expense. So I don't have a problem with those who are child free. Anybody who's not going to have children, whatever your justification is, just don't do it.
here comes the eugenics and the white supremacy. Statistically, the folks who are reproducing, the populations that are growing, those are non-white populations. Anytime someone talks about population control, anytime someone advocates for us stopping reproduction as a species, it's a dog whistle to white supremacy.
Okay, so she talks really fast, and then you really need to catch to what she's saying. So anti-natalism is white supremacy, population control is white supremacy, yet the people who are not having children are white. That makes absolutely no sense. The Europeans are not procreating because most of them are child free, And a lot of them do believe in population control. Population control is not being pushed on African countries. They're not being told to not procreate. It's the Europeans who are told not to procreate. I have my own theories about that, but I guess I've already talked about it on my anarchist channel. Um, if there's any group that they're trying to get rid of, it's not blacks, it's whites. I mean, it's not me trying to cape for white. I'm just saying this is objectively true. People have made there's content all over YouTube talking about how the white race needs to go extinct because the white people are oppressors. So she's completely contradicting herself. She's saying that anti-natalism is eugenics against blacks, but even by her own admission, it's whites who are not procreating. So, I mean, a lot of people assume that whites are not procreating due to infertility. No, they're voluntarily choosing not to procreate because they're child-free, because they think that it's bad for the environment. And it's not just whites, it's also Asians. So she just made a huge intellectual leap. So because whites are not procreating, ipso facto is eugenic. It's just everything she's saying is completely illogical. And I understand why she's done it. The main reason she's done it and she's making these intellectual leaps is because she is a breeder herself. She has children. And so she wants to justify it. And then why she calls David Benatar a colonizer, but that's in another video. I'm going to get to that one after. These are two short videos.
Because the folks who are having kids are not white. The populations that are growing worldwide and in America are not white. And that is really effing scary for white people. If you don't want to be a parent, you should not be forced to be one. You should not be shamed for not having children. But please be aware if you're spouting antinatalist nonsense that you are spouting eugenics and white supremacy. Have you heard the term?
Okay, so she talks about parents having freedom of choice to have children. What about the choice of those who did not want to have life imposed on us? What about our choice? So it's not a personal decision. It's not like you just make a decision and it only affects you. No, you are imposing life, suffering, and death onto a non-consenting human being. She completely glosses over that. And yeah, I'm going to get into our second video because that one is actually short, but gosh, this woman, I don't think a lot of these people will make these videos arguing against antinatalism. They don't even know what it's about. They don't even understand the philosophy of it. It's a visceral reaction to it. And just they have all these dismissals of antinatalism. And let's listen to what her alternative is to antinatalism. I mean, it's always the same alternative, the same solution that isn't working. This is what they're going to push on everybody.
From antinatalism before? Do you understand how it's different than being child-free or choosing not to become a parent? But more than that, do you understand how it's thinly cloaked eugenics and how it supports white supremacy? Now, I'm a leftist. I've seen a number.
How does it support white supremacy? I mean, at the heart of white supremacy is the exploitation of people of color. So if people of color are not brought into existence, who the hell are they going to exploit? Like, God, this woman is, I mean, I listen to her content when it comes to gardening and permaculture, but I think she's full of shit when it comes to antinatalism. I don't think she even knows an antinatalist. She hasn't read David Benatar's book. She's just really spouting shit out of her ass. And she's supposed to be so compassionate, right? This is a woke leftist by her own admission. I don't think she has any compassion for those of us who don't want to be here. I guarantee she doesn't support the right to die. So this is a hardcore status. She's probably going to use the government to impose her will on the people. I guarantee she supports mandatory vaccination. She supports big government regulations. She's going to impose life onto us. And then her solution is for the government to solve everybody's problems through threat of physical force. So this is a status. This is a very violent woman. She doesn't believe in consent. and everything that she's. I mean, it's not that I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. I'm not. I'm independent. I'm actually an anarchist, so I don't believe in voting for either party. I'm actually not going to be voting going forward. So that's not to say that I'm demonizing one side or the other, but um, there's a problem. There's a lot of problems with her arguments. Like her leftist stance is big government. So her solution is basically to struggle, and then this whole Pollyanna approach that life is going to be better because the government is just going to fix everything, even though it hasn't done it. She thinks that something is magically going to change, and we should just continue struggling.
Number of leftist slash progressive slash liberal folks who support an antinatalist ideology and turned a blind eye to the fact that what they're supporting is neither liberation nor inclusivity.
How is it not liberation, right? How is it not liberation to not impose life onto someone? Antinatalism really is the prophylactic for all oppression. If more people were anti-natalist, slavery would have ended a long time ago. Jim Crow would have ended a long time ago. Capitalism would have ended a long time ago. How is it not? It's the absolute cure-all for all oppression. It is the absolute, the only. First of all, we already know that death is liberation from all suffering. So, not imposing life onto someone in the first place would be liberation even from death. So, she just makes these conclusions, right? There's no argument behind it. It's just her forming these conclusions, and then because she says so, we're supposed to just accept it as true. There's no logic behind what she said. I've listened to her arguments. It's just not making any sense. How are you saying that it's not liberation? That's the conclusion. I don't. There's no argument leading up to that.
I had a short video the other day where I brought this up because I was talking about the way that we treat children and how anti-child American society is. So someone asked me a question about antinatalism, and I was like, oh, it's eugenicist. And they were like, how? So I made a short reply video. You can click here to go see it. And on that video, 2 antinatalists left a lot of comments, and I'd like to read this comment from one of them. Antinatalism believes it is immoral to bring souls to suffer, has nothing to do with eugenics or white supremacy. Creating workers and taxpayers and being proud about it is cruel. So choosing not to be a parent or being child-free is a personal choice not to reproduce.
Again, she says it's a personal choice, but she doesn't say anything about imposing life onto someone, relegating them to a life as a wage slave to this capitalist system. She completely dismisses it. She just completely glosses over that and moves on to whatever gobbledygook that she wants to push. She's very dismissive. Aside from unnatural vegan, I would actually like to debate her. She probably wouldn't debate me though, because she considers herself woke, and she considers herself. The joke is that she's supposed to be pro-black. That her breeder position is pro-black. She thinks she is, so she's anti-white, even though she's white herself. She's so full of shit. I would like for her to debate an actual black person, and let's see what she has to say to me about what would her response be to an actual black person who did not want to be brought into existence? Because she's acting as if she speaks on our behalf.
Folks do it for a whole host of reasons. They just don't want to have kids. They don't feel that having kids is in their skill set.
Every reason to procreate is completely selfish. There are no selfish reasons for procreating. Not one. Every reason to procreate is based on, I want this, I want that, I want someone to love me, I need someone to validate me, I need social standing. There are no selfish reason or non-selfish reasons to procreate.
It's not the lifestyle that they want. After all, becoming a parent is a lifelong commitment to having a relationship with another human being. And for the first 18 years of that relationship or more, you are legally, financially, morally responsible for the health and well-being of that person. They are wholly dependent on you.
And most people drop the ball. A lot of these parents are abusing their children. They're actually imposing life on to their children just so they can have someone to abuse and to oppress. I told y'all before that your parents are your first oppressors. Whether it's knowingly or unknowingly, they are oppressing you. They subject you to their rules, to their control. They indoctrinate you with their ethics, their religion. They want to control you like they own you. They think that children are property, especially in America. Um, so what did she just say? Let's just keep going because there was. I think I have a comment, but I want to keep going.
I have no gripes with people who don't want to be parents. Now, some folks are child-free by choice, even though they'd very much like to be parents in a different set of circumstances. They can't afford to have kids. They feel that it is not ethical to have children in a climate change reality. They feel that America is falling into fascism and it would be irresponsible to bring children into our current socioeconomic and political climate. They buy into the overpopulation myth, another eugenicist belief that I could talk about later.
Overpopulation is not a myth. I've already addressed this. If there's unemployment, that means there are too many people. If there are too many cars on the road, that means there are too many people. If there's a housing shortage, that means that it's overpopulated. Now, people will say that you can overcome this through engineering. You can build more roads. You can build more housing, all that stuff. Right. Eventually, you're going to run into a brick wall. There's finite resources. Everyone wants to maintain a high quality of life. And then the solution that they always have is we should just reduce consumption, meaning we should conserve, we should consume less, we should live in smaller houses, we should carpool, we should take public transportation. And so our quality of life is going to be negatively impacted by the fact that these people decided to procreate. So it has an immediate negative impact on your quality of life. And they don't even negate it. It's going to increase grocery prices. It's going to increase energy consumption. The easiest way to reduce climate change is to not procreate. But these leftists never take that into consideration. They want to continue procreating. And then we're supposed to sacrifice to accommodate the fact that they decided to have children. And meanwhile, we need to subsidize their lifestyle also because they feel they have a sense of entitlement. It's like, how can they be happy without having children, right? So their happiness comes first. They don't necessarily care about their children's happiness or their children's welfare. Even her, she's completely dismissing the child, right? She's talking about parents. Parents have a right to procreate. Nothing in this conversation says anything about the child's welfare. She doesn't care. She doesn't care about the child's autonomy, the child's right to not be brought into existence. She's going to sit here and spout her pseudo-intellectualism, her wokeness, and we're just supposed to accept it as the gospel.
But being child-free is a personal choice. An antinatalist believes that we have a moral obligation as a species to stop having children. So I'm going to disagree and agree at the same time with part of this definition. Antinatalists do believe that it is immoral to have children if you are poor and if the children are brought into a world where there might be things like hunger, climate change, strife, conflict. They believe that kids did not consent to being created, so it's immoral to create children against their will and bring them into a world where there are hardships.
I don't know what the air quotes are about, against their will. There are no air quotes about that. It is against their will. They did not consent to this, and life was thrust upon them without their consent. So, again, this is a dismissal, right? This is the crux of the anti-natalist position, that it was done without our consent. So, if you can just dismiss that and then just go gloss over that and be glib about human suffering because you don't give a shit. You don't care about the fact that we have to work as wage slaves. We have to be oppressed. We have to be subjected to unjust laws. Just completely gloss over that and say, oh, it was against their consent, in air quotes, without even actually addressing that. I don't understand how this is a 5-minute video. I mean, she didn't even get into the meat of I guarantee none of these people who try to debunk antinatalism, none of them ever addressed the asymmetry argument. I don't think she even knows about the asymmetry argument. This is a comprehensive dismissal or a summary dismissal of antinatalism without actually getting into the meat of it.
It absolutely reinforces the white supremacist belief of the Great Replacement theory, and I'll tell you why real quick. The majority of people on Earth and in America who are procreating are non-white people. The majority of people on Earth who are born into circumstances where they have more poverty, a lower standard of living, and are likely to struggle more are non-white people. It's a very privileged, white, comfortable view to say that the only people who should be reproducing are those that can guarantee safety, security, and comfort for their children.
First of all, nobody can guarantee the safety and comfort of their children. I don't know why she's putting words into our mouth to say, I've never heard one antinatalist say that the only people who should not procreate are people of color. Not one. That's why when they made that documentary about antinatalism, I specifically said that this documentary is problematic because the only people in that documentary are white people. And people are going to look at this documentary and think that antinatalism is promoting eugenics. And everyone's saying, oh, well, there were also no Asians. And no. There was never eugenics against a eugenics program against Asians. It was never a eugenics program against Latinos. I guess there was a eugenics program against Native Americans, but we're specifically talking about Black people. And people like her are going to watch. If I don't even think she would watch that documentary, but she would watch that and say, see, there are no Black people here talking about antinatalism, so antinatalism is racist. We don't say that only Black people shouldn't procreate. We say that white people, anybody should not procreate. It doesn't matter what your race is. Like, everybody's going to suffer. I don't know why she's focusing on poverty. It's not just poverty. It's everybody's going to get sick. Everybody's going to age and decline. Everybody's going to, you could potentially get cancer. You could get bit. If you read David Benderhart's book, he focuses on the most minute suffering possible. Everything down from getting bitten by a mosquito. So if you don't have the right to impose life onto someone and impose suffering on them at the same time. So again, she doesn't know anything about the asymmetry argument. So the good always outweighs the bad because you don't have a duty to give pleasure to someone who doesn't exist. You do have a duty to not impose suffering on them. So the fact that they're going to suffer and die is the only thing that you focus on. You don't focus on the good. You don't focus on the pleasure. This is a woman who wants people of color to struggle. So she's calling antinatalists racist and eugenicists. She's the racist and eugenicist. She's the one who wants people of color to suffer. This is a projection. And I know I use that word a lot, but there's a lot of projection going on with people when they have insecurities, when they are unethical. This is an unethical woman. This is a woman who has children. I know she's never shown her children in her content, but she's talked about them. So and she has used children plural. So she has at least 2 children. Those children are going to suffer and die. Those children are going to age and decline. Those children are going to be oppressed. And she has no justification for it. They didn't have to die. They didn't have to suffer. They didn't have to struggle. But because she wanted children to enrich her life, she decided to procreate anyway. And she can't justify it morally other than the fact that I just wanted some damn children. I wanted a little mini me to give my life fulfillment. I'm going to self-actualize at the expense of my own damn children. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit about what happens to my children. If my children get raped, if my children get blown up in a war, I don't give a shit. I had children. I had fun. I already know that my children are likely to outlive me. So I'm going to die, and my children are going to have to witness me die, and they're going to have to live with that for the rest of your life, but I don't give a shit. I wanted some fucking children, so who gives a shit about what kind of suffering they had to go through? I'm going to cross my fingers and hope that my children outlive me, so I don't even have to think about the fact that they're going to have to die. I'm just going to pretend that my children are immortal because they're going to outlive me, and then I can pretend that I'm actually a good person, even though I'm an evil, sadistic breeder.
It's absolutely a eugenicist belief to see the problem of poverty in this world. And instead of working to dismantle the systems that put people in poverty in the first place, we say, oh, yeah, y'all in poverty, especially brown and black people, you can't reproduce.
Guys, this woman is so full of shit. What put people in poverty in the first place? Was it the system, or was it the fact that they were brought into existence? I would say that it's the former. You impose life on someone, and you knew that they were going to experience a life of poverty. Most people are not wealthy. So there's a have and there's a have-nots. So you knew that. You knowingly decided to impose life on someone. You did not provide them with the skill set or anything to provide them with a high quality of life. I mean, even if you did that, I still don't think that's justified. But most of these people know good and damn well that their children are going to grow up working at Walmart. They don't give a shit. I still got the pleasure of raising some children, and it was fun for me. And I guess those people get to self-actualize at the expense of their children. So even though I'm working a shitty job at Walmart, I still get to have some fulfillment because I'm going to turn around and have some fucking children too. And then they can work at Walmart and work at a fucking gas station. And I get to say that my life serves some purpose because I decided to have children, even though I'm perpetuating this whole cycle. So you live in this whole bubble where you don't give a shit about what happens to your children. But the only way you can pretend that life serves purpose is by having children. So you perpetuate this whole cycle. What is wrong with this woman? What is wrong with her? I'm so at a loss for words to try. I mean, she's clearly being dishonest, right? She's gaslighting us here. She's trying to make it seem like the anti-natives are the ones who are unethical. She's the one who's unethical, right? She's against capitalism. She's against this whole. A lot of her content is about Donald Trump. You can say Donald Trump is authoritarian. You can say a lot. You can make a lot of critiques about Donald Trump, but the only way to avoid Donald Trump is not just Donald Trump, right? Because it does. A lot of people they're leftists. They're on the right. They think that their side has all the solutions. So if a Democrat were in office, then everything would be so fucking Pollyanna, right? Everything would be so damn wonderful. Let's say Kamala Harris did win. That's not going to change the fact I have to age and decline. That's not going to change the fact that I could get cancer. I could get run over by a damn bus. I could get shot. I mean, it doesn't change anything. The only way to address this is at its roots. She's saying that, gosh, she wants to do a post hoc critique of this. So after you impose life on them, now you want to remedy the system. So she's saying that the root cause is the system of white supremacy and not the fact that you impose. No. I mean, she talks so fast. So if you just listen to her, you really don't catch the bullshit. But that's why I have to stop every few seconds. This is rife with bullshit. No, the root cause is procreation, not the system of white supremacy. And the only thing that you have control over is your own reproduction. You don't have control over white supremacy. And so she has a very privileged position. She's going to say that anti-natives are privileged. No, you're privileged because you believe that you have power to affect change. You believe that if you cling to your positive thinking, you just click your heels and wish 3 times that this world is going to be a wonderful place. It's just going to be a wonderful place. That is a very privileged position to throw caution to the wind, have children, despite the overwhelming evidence of the fact that they're actually going to live a life of toil. You don't give a shit. Again, Complete projection. She's the one who's privileged. The privileged position is to say that my child's life is going to be wonderful. I have nothing to fear. Everything is going to be fine. Um, no, she's going to say that we should work against these systems of oppression and no. What actually happens? The reality is that parents don't do it. They're not doing shit to fight against this system. What they're going to do is leave that burden on the next generation for them to do it. So, especially if you're a male, it's your responsibility to fight. I didn't choose this shit, but because I'm a black male, the black community is going to expect me to fight this damn system. And they're going to expect me to procreate. So there are more so-called black warriors to fight against the system of white supremacy. The shit hasn't worked. It hasn't worked. It's not going to work. But these people have Stockholm syndrome. They cling to this damn system as much as they as much as they complain about being oppressed. They love this damn system. They love being oppressed. They love whining. They love struggling. They'll say that they don't, but look at their damn actions. Their actions show that they love white supremacy. They love being oppressed because then they get to whine and cry and talk about how they're so downtrodden, and then they're going to continue throwing their damn children to the fucking wolves while complaining at the same time. So your actions show what you actually believe. Your actions belie your damn rhetoric. Your actions show that you are not oppressed, because if you were oppressed, you wouldn't be having any damn children and throwing them into this damn oppressive system.
This actually reminds me a lot of the video I did a while back on vegan activism and how it is rooted in white supremacy and it supports cultural genocide. Whether or not the folks who are spouting it actually understand that, that is the impact. This is the same thing. You may think you're real woke. You may think your stance is like fighting the man, but what it really is punching down on the most vulnerable people around the world.
No, punching down. How do you punch down on people? Again, she's only focusing on the parents, right? She's focusing on the parents and their right to procreate, right? So they're the victims. The children are not the victims. So she's going to completely skirt against that. She doesn't give a shit about the damn children. If anybody's been punched down on, it's the damn children. The children in these communities are being beat. It's not just the system that is oppressing them. They're being beaten by extension cords. So before the system of white supremacy even has a chance to oppress them, their parents are already done. Their parents are beating them with fucking extension cords. Their parents think that their children are their fucking property. They can do whatever they want. They can impose a false religion, a false ideology on them. Their children are just a mini-me with no autonomy. Their children are just supposed to serve their parents' needs. And if they don't, then they're going to be punished with an iron fist. So, again, no empathy for the damn child. She only has empathy for the parents. So, this is not a compassionate person. This is someone who's very apathetic. This is a person who is very dismissive. I don't hear any empathy, any compassion at all for the damn children. She completely sides with the parents who want to throw their children into this oppressive system. Gosh, girl, if you want to debate me, pull up. That's all I can pull up. Or I could even debate you on your channel.
And it is reinforcing a narrative of white supremacy. When you are advocating for a policy that says that nobody should be having babies.
No, antinatalists are not pushing for any public policy. What we call for is voluntary human extinction. Again, this is a very voluntary extinction, excuse me. This is a very conservative position. We're not looking for policies. We're not saying that the government is going to solve this. What we say is that you, as an individual, have the power to effect meaningful change. You can end this damn cycle. You can stop procreating. There is no policy behind this. We're saying that you can reflect on what is going on in the world, and you can effectively put an end to this. As an individual, you're not a helpless person who's just a victim to circumstance. But a lot of people feel powerless, and they're not. They can actually do something.
In a world where white people are having babies below replacement, you are inherently saying people of color should not be reproducing. You are putting...
No. Again, if whites are the ones who are reproducing below replacement rate, then inherently in that statement is they are saying that whites should not. It's not even necessarily that they're saying that whites should procreate, but that the message is being targeted more so to whites. It's being targeted more so to Europeans. Um, it's being pushed more in academic circles, right? They're actually being it's actually being shunned upon in the black community in poor neighborhoods because a lot of people have a fear that they specifically target black people and tell them to not procreate, then they're going to be seen as racist. That's the reason why I'm pushing for black people to do it. I don't think that, I mean, the optics are not great for a white person to go to a black community and say, black people should stop procreating, right? It's going to take black people to do this. Um, Specifically, black women. Black women need to stop procreating. Stop using your womb as a tool of white supremacy to breed laborers for this oppressive system. Um, I don't even understand why she's in this conversation. Why? Because she's going to claim that the anti-natalists are the racists, but I don't think she has any standing to even speak on this. Who the hell are you to speak about what black people should do? I guarantee that she would be completely dismissive of my experience as a black man. Again, I'm probably the token person because I'm a double minority. I'm black and I'm gay. She doesn't give a shit about what kind of oppression I've experienced. She would say that my parents had a right to procreate, and regardless of how much I suffered during my time on Earth, they still had a right to do it, and my suffering is completely irrelevant. She doesn't give a shit. This is not a compassionate woman. This is very apathetic. This is very dismissive, and I would say it's very unethical. I mean, I don't understand how she can defend her position morally or ethically.
The burden on the folks who are most impacted by poverty, by climate change, by unrest around the world, to take responsibility for the circumstances that predominantly wealthy white people, predominantly men, have created.
No, absolutely not. It's not society's responsibility to reduce your children's suffering. Everybody is selfish. I mean, people are inherently selfish. People are inherently exploitive. So the only people who have a moral duty to end your child's suffering are the people who caused it in the first place. So you can prevent this. You can prevent your children from suffering and dying. It's not anybody else. Okay, people will say that. I just love how this whole argument works. That's just that they'll say that parents don't owe their children anything. Like parents don't have a duty to leave their children wealth. They don't have a duty to provide for their children beyond the age of 18, right? But then they have no problem saying that society has that burden. They have no problem saying that society should have to impose a high quality of life. There should be a minimum wage that those who are wealthy should provide for those who are poor, right? So why should a random stranger have a greater duty to someone else's child than their own damn parent? The person who actually imposed life on you, that person has no duty to you whatsoever, but society, the broader society, owes everybody else's children something, even to the extent that, I mean, I've already talked about this, that there is no, what's the phrase? There is no right to inherit your children's property. You have a right to disinherit your children. Why is that? How is that ethical? You breed me into hell, and then you don't even do. I mean, it's bad enough that I had to suffer already, right? You didn't even do everything that you could to try to make my life as pleasant as possible while you were here. But now you died, and you have wealth, and you could actually make my life a little bit more comfortable. But you're going to disinherit me anyway because you don't think you owe me anything. But you're going to say that society owes me, but my parents don't. I understand that you need maintenance for yourself. You need to provide food, clothing, shelter for yourself while you're alive. But when you die, no, whatever wealth you had should automatically go to your children. You have an absolute moral and ethical duty to provide the best quality of life for your children possible. You don't have a moral right to disinherit your children. You absolutely do not. I mean, you don't have a right to just give it to it doesn't matter if you're an adult. You didn't just create a damn child who's going to live until the age of 18. You created a complete human being who's going to have to navigate through this world, and you should be providing the best quality of life possible. You don't just get to just give it to your sister, and then I'm supposed to honor you as my parent and continue on your legacy and carry your damn fucking last name. Absolutely not. I should have an automatic right to inherit whatever the hell you own. I don't give a shit if it's some damn socks. I don't give a shit if you have a damn quarter under your fucking mattress. I am absolutely entitled to it.
Instead of focusing your energy on telling people of color not to have children, instead of putting your energy into wanting to convert the whole world into accepting a policy of antinatalism, how about you work to dismantle the power structures that have put those folks in poverty, that have colonized and exploited those folks in the first place?
I don't know who she's addressing to. Is she addressing this to white people, or is she addressing this to black people? Who's supposed to be dismantling this system? They're not going to do it. They're going to drop the ball. They're not going to do shit. Most people are not activists. Most people don't give a shit. Most people are completely apathetic. And what they're going to do is leave that burden for the next generation. They don't give a shit. What are people actually doing? If what she's saying was plausible, then it would already be happening. But the activist community is very small. It's a very small minority. And so this is some Pollyanna bullshit. She thinks that change is going to magically happen, even though it's not happening right now. This is a very privileged position. She believes that she has the power to change the damn world. Not even realizing that she's already oppressing people. She's oppressing people just by existing. She's oppressing the third world who has to produce her food. She's oppressing the third world who has to produce her clothing. She's even oppressing animals. And y'all know I'm not a vegan, but she's oppressing animals just by existing, just by consuming animal products. And I would say that I'm doing that too. I mean, I'm going to cop to that for the vegans who may still be on my channel. I'm going to cop to that. But at least I'm ending the damn cycle. At least I'm not producing the next generation who's going to be consuming animals, because that is what their natural diet is, and that is what is necessary for their survival and optimal health. I'm not going to impose life onto children and say they should go vegan and struggle. No, I'm just going to say I'm going to consume animal products, but I'm going to end the cycle. So this cycle ends with me. But she's not even going to do that. She's going to have children. She's not going to go vegan, and she's just going to struggle and impose that burden on her damn children. So I guess her children are supposed to be activists too. She imposed that burden on them. Her children are supposed to feel guilty for being white because they're the oppressors, and their children have that burden, and this is the burden that they're going to have to live with for the rest of their life. That they're white, they oppress people, and they're supposed to dismantle the system. How is this ethical? How is this God, she's so full of shit. If she really believed that white people are so oppressive just by existing, then as a white person, I mean, let alone black people absolutely should not be procreating, because they are imposing suffering and oppression on their own people. But as a white person, if you believe that white people are the oppressors, then why the hell would you be the progenitor of more white people, right? I would say that she's the white supremacist. She just created some damn white children according to her own belief system. White people are the oppressors, and yet she decides to procreate anyway, knowing good and damn well that her children are going, no matter how well-intentioned they are, just by existing, they're going to be oppressing people. And I'm not just saying white people, by the way. I'm saying anyone who lives in a developed country. Just by living in the United States, we are oppressing people all across the damn world. She doesn't give a shit about that, though, right? We're oppressing people. We're taking resources from the third world. And then the whole great replacement, she doesn't even know what the whole great replacement theory is. The great replacement is that the third world is going to replace the United States, right? We're going to be the ones who are going to we're going to take the fall, right? And they're the ones who are going to rise up. We're going to be last. They're going to be first. What she said, that's not the great replacement. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. When the U.S. economy collapses, we're the ones who are going to suffer, and her damn children are going to suffer too. And she doesn't give a shit because what she thinks. By the way, her whole channel is mostly about gardening and permaculture. So she thinks she's going to live in her own little bubble where she's going to produce crops. She's going to donate her vegetables to the starving poor people, and then she's going to be a good person. I'm gardening myself, right? I haven't really produced enough crops to be self-sustainable, but come on, you think that's the damn solution? You really think that's going to eliminate suffering just by giving people some damn tomatoes? Are you out your fucking mind?
How about you work to dismantle white supremacy instead of touting a eugenicist belief and thinking that it is progressive?
Amazon is the biggest company in the world, and here's how you could get a cut.
And a way to dismantle white supremacy is to stop procreating. That is the solution. It's antinatalism. The bullshit that she's saying, I don't hear any fucking solutions, right? Her solution is to continue struggling and then just cross your fingers and hope for the best. I mean, gosh, insanity is doing the same thing ad nauseum and expecting a different result. Let me go through some of these comments before I go on to this other short video. I think this woman is so full of shit. Yeah, well, I'm glad that you're here, but I'm about to get into my book, which ties homosexuality to anti-news. I know I'm going to be losing subscribers, at least on the anti-news informant channel, because unfortunately, a lot of people in the anti-natalist community are homophobic. They don't see the connection between homosexuality and antinatalism. That's not to say that you necessarily have to be gay to be an antinatalism, but it is one way to curb procreation, right? That is the way that Africans curb procreation. During times of famine, they practice homosexuality in order to not procreate. So it's not to say that you necessarily have to be gay, but that is a component. That is one expression of antinatalism. I don't understand why the anti-natalist community is so damn homophobic that anytime I talk about anything gay, I'm going to lose 10 to 15 subscribers. I guess I've already lost the homophobes in the anti-natalist community because a lot of them the men particularly, will claim that they're anti-natalists while doing absolutely nothing to change their behavior. So they're claiming that they're anti-natalist, but what they'll do is they'll leave the burden completely on the woman. So I'm not going to get sterilized. I'm not going to use a condom. I'm not going to do shit to actually change my behavior. What I'm going to do is claim I'm an anti-natalist. I'm going to spew this anti-natalist rhetoric, and then I'm just going to tell a woman that she needs to use birth control. Right. What kind of sacrifice did you actually make to call yourself a damn anti-natalist? I'm fucking gay, and even I got fucking sterilized. What did you actually sacrifice to call yourself a fucking anti-natalist? Let me go through some of these comments before I get into her second. And I already know I'm going to catch flack for even saying that right there. There's a lot of women in the anti-natalist community who already said exactly what I'm saying. But when I say it, somehow I'm betraying the manhood. To say that men who claim to call themselves anti-natalist should actually do something to stop procreation, other than just putting the burden on women. They don't want to use condoms. They don't want to get sterilized. They don't want to do shit. They don't want to do shit, but say it's the woman's responsibility to use birth control. And then they're going to push the woman down the stairs if she gets pregnant. What kind of logic is that? No shade. No shade. Y'all know who I'm talking about, who's the person who said that shit. The next generation will fix it. That's right. They're going to breed themselves out of oppression. They're going to keep having children, and then magically things are just going to get better. Elijah and Jesus return as women and marry soon. Settling the gospel is a sin. Yeah, we can get into the Gnostic version of Christianity. By the way, the Gnostics were against procreation. So you can spout that Christianity bullshit all you want. There is another interpretation of Christianity which says that people should not procreate, not just the Gnostics, but even the Shakers. Y'all don't know about the Shakers, a version of the Quakers. They believe that procreation was the ultimate sin. That is the root cause of all sin. That procreation really is the only sin. And then Christians have gotten this shit so backwards to say that, oh, you're just going to have children, breathe them into hell, and then Jesus is going to save you from the hell that I put you in. What kind of logic is that? No, the way to save children from hell is to not put them in hell in the first damn place. The ignorant, abusive parents abuse their kids, abandon them, and then when they get old, they have the damn nerve to think we will take care of these losers. No, nursing home. Yeah, I didn't do that to my father. I did everything I could to try to make his end of life experience as comfortable as possible, and the motherfucker still fucking disinherited me. How dare him? Let me move on to this next video.
So a little while ago, I did a video on antinatalism as a tool of white supremacy, and antinatalists were not happy. I mean, let's set aside the fact that one of the big...
It's not that we're unhappy. If you were actually making logical arguments that actually were responsive to our position, that'd be one thing. But you're making a whole bunch of non sequiturs. You're saying a whole bunch of shit that has absolutely nothing to do with antinatalism. We're not saying that only poor people shouldn't procreate. We're not saying that only black people shouldn't procreate. We're saying that nobody should procreate. So you have trumped up this bullshit to try to justify your decision to procreate, and then you have, I don't know, put that on antinatalists to say that this is what we think. We think that only black people shouldn't procreate. No, nobody has ever said that. I don't know one antinatalist who's ever said that only black people or only poor people shouldn't procreate.
Thinkers in antinatalism is a white South African colonizer. I'm going to go ahead and read your comment.
Right. Gosh. So David Benatar is a colonizer because he lives in South Africa. But you're not a colonizer, even though you live in the United States. I mean, you didn't necessarily choose. You didn't necessarily choose where you were born, but you decided to have children. Right. You're damn colonizer too. I mean, we're all fucking colonizers. I mean, I don't understand how she's morally superior to David Benatar. Right? How she's in the exact same position as David Benatar. David Benatar immigrated to South Africa. Her people immigrated to the United States. It's the exact same thing. How is she not a fucking colonizer?
I think you are missing a lot of nuance with the morality of choosing to bring life into a doomed world specifically to suffer for your own personal reasons. I mean, I could get into why being a doomer in general is a privileged take. It's a lazy take that absolves you of having to work for solutions, but in particular...
No. Being a doomer is not a privileged position. Being her Pollyanna bullshit position, that is the privileged position. That I'm just going to put my head in the sand and think that everything's going to be fine. That is extremely privileged. That you think that society is going to just magically become this wonderful place. That is privilege. What is she talking about? To be a doomer is not, there's nothing privileged about being a doomer. Being a doomer means that you are thinking about the worst case scenario. It means that you're not privileged. And the burden of fixing society is not on the person who, I'm not sure who she thinks the burden is to fix society. What it sounds like to me is that she's putting the burden on the person who's brought into existence. So you're the child who's oppressed, and you're supposed to you're supposed to crawl your way out of oppression. You're supposed to crawl your way out the top from ground zero without any help. And you're supposed to magically pull yourself up from by your bootstraps. Who's responsible? Because she's not putting that responsibility on the parents. She's putting that responsibility on broader society. She's putting that burden on white people to alleviate suffering of other people's children. The parents are completely absolved. They have no role in this situation whatsoever. I just think her position is all over the place. It doesn't make any damn sense.
Antinatalism is a very privileged take. It's a very white colonizer mindset that says instead of working to dismantle the systems of oppression that put people in cycles of poverty to begin with,
putting people in the system of oppression to begin with is procreation. Again, she's taking a post hoc position. I'm going to impose life on them. And then after they're here, I'm going to try, what do we call this? Negative utilitarianism. I'm going to try to make their life as pleasurable as possible. I'm going to try to reduce their suffering. No, you cannot you can't take a post hoc position. You need to eliminate. The only way to completely eliminate their suffering is to not impose life on them. Once they're already here, they're going to have to suffer and die. They're going to have to spend their lives. It's not even your life, right? You have to work. So they always say that life is a gift, right? It's a gift that you have to work to maintain. It's not like I'm just going to, like a present, you just give somebody a gift and they get to enjoy it. No, you have to work to maintain your life. The burden is on you to work as a fucking wage slave in this capitalist system to maintain a life that you never asked for. So you got the gift. Maybe it was a gift for you as a parent that you had a child to idolize you and to validate your existence. It's not a gift for the person upon which life was imposed upon. It's not a gift for me. It's not a gift for the anti-natives who didn't ask to be here. We're the ones who have to work to maintain a life that we never even asked for. So, right. Girl, if you want to debate me, you can pull up.
Instead of recognizing that the reason that so many people live in poverty is because of the exploitation of colonialism.
The reason they live in poverty is because life was imposed on them in the first place. And these people knew that the system was going to exploit them, and they decided to have children anyway. No one knew good and damn well that their children were going to be wage slaves. No one good and damn well that their children were going to be funneled through the school to prison pipeline. And they didn't give a shit, just like you don't give a shit.
Instead of trying to pay reparations, dismantle those systems, heal.
But they already know that the damn system is not going to pay them reparations. They already know this shit is not going to happen. But they're going to have this wishful Pollyanna thinking to say the system is going to pay reparations. How about my fucking reparations? How about that? We can talk about the system paying reparations for slavery, but what about my fucking reparations for my parents for imposing life on me? How about that? How about my father fucking disinherited me and didn't fucking pay me reparations for the life that he imposed onto me? How about that? How about reparations for my fucking parents? But no, she's going to gloss over that. She's so fucking glib.
The harm that was done as much as possible and raise people up out of poverty. It's very easy and lazy to say, well, the solution to the fact that people are born into poverty and live in suffering is to stop those people from bringing more people into poverty.
She wants people to suffer. She wants people to struggle. This is a struggle. I mean, this is a struggle chick. I'm not going to call her the B word. I mean, this is a woman who wants to struggle. This is a woman who wants people of color to struggle. She thinks that there is something noble about overcoming adversity. So she's not the one who has to overcome the adversity. We're the ones who have to overcome. She thinks that because she's white, that she's privileged and it's only the people of color who have to suffer. So she doesn't give a shit about her children having to suffer. She doesn't give a shit about black people having this. She doesn't give a shit. She's going to cling to her incremental bullshit to say, oh, well, I started a garden in my backyard and I gave some people some fucking tomatoes and some fucking cucumbers. And so I did my fucking good deed of the day. And that's enough, right? Gosh, this woman is so vapid. I mean, it's so unethical. And she's so fucking arrogant about it. Like, she's so sure that her position is right, that it's not is not susceptible to challenge, that she can just authoritatively sit here and act like she's right. It's not even like as if this is just her opinion. She's setting these things as these are facts, that these things are objectively true, that you should just have children and you should just struggle to fight against white supremacy, even though she's maintaining white supremacy. But she's maintaining white supremacy both by procreating herself and producing white children, and she's also telling Black people to continue procreating so they will be victims of white supremacy. So she's a double white supremacist. She's white supremacist, and she's a progenitor of Black oppression. Gosh, girl, you are not woke at all. How dare you call yourself woke?
Stop those people from reproducing. If you say that what you really truly care about is sparing children from growing up in poverty, from suffering, then the response is, how do we care for and meet the needs of today's kids?
They're not meeting the needs of today's kids. They're not even trying to meet the needs of the children or the adults, by the way. It's not just children. They're not even trying to help us with student loans or I'm an anarchist, so I don't necessarily whatever. I need to go down that route, but they don't give a shit. They're not trying to raise our quality of life, and you know that shit, and yet you're going to impose life on children anyway, knowing good and damn well that their children are going to live a life of toil, and what? You just think that things are magically going to be fine. That is so fucking reckless and irresponsible. Whose responsibility is it? Whose responsibility does it fall on more than... You can say society has some kind of role, even though I don't agree with that. But who has a greater role? Does a random stranger have that role, or do the parents have a greater role? The parents who knowingly decided to procreate, knowing good and damn well that their children were going to suffer and struggle.
And how do we create a world that solves poverty? It's not to say that's too big of a problem to tackle, so let's just not have babies.
Is it objectively true? Yes, it is. Especially when people like you want to continue procreating. There are finite resources. Everybody can't be wealthy. I guess this must be a socialist. She thinks the government is just going to magically just redistribute wealth so that everyone has an equal standard of living. Not in your fucking lifetime, right? How many people have to suffer in a process while you wait for the government to fucking fix poverty? It's not going to fucking happen, right? So many people are going to suffer in the meantime while you cling to this fairy tale magical government that's going to make life this fucking fairy tale.
Or let's stop other people from having babies, especially poor people.
Who said especially poor people?
And I'm not dismissing patriarchy.
Who said especially poor people? I don't know why she threw that in, because no anti-natalist has ever said that. I don't know one anti-natalist who's ever said only poor people shouldn't procreate. In fact, we would say that wealthy people have a greater responsibility to not procreate because they are consuming a disproportionate amount of the world's resources. Now, let me get into my book, because let me go into some comments before. I can't believe that I just stretched that little 5-minute video into a whole hour. I had so much to say about this woman. The lady in Georgia, they kept on life support to cut her open to bring the kid into the world. She was brain dead since February, and they forced her to stay in this earth for the kids. Right. A lot of these people are terminally ill. Some of these women have cancer. There was some vegan woman who had cancer, and her last wish was to have children. I showed y'all that clip from Still Magnolias, which was based on a true story about that woman who had diabetes, and she decided to have children even though she knew she was going to die. How selfish is that? You know you're going to die, and you're going to deprive your children of a fucking parent, but you're gonna. These people are so fucking irrational. They act like they're so fucking compassionate. They're going to give the gift of life to someone who's going to live life without a fucking parent. Like, what kind of shit is that? All right, I guess I will move on to my book now. I don't know if there's any comments. Sending the abusive breeders that had me to the nursing home too. I am estranged and the scapegoat, outcast, child-free LGBTQA, and staying away. Exactly. Well, the gag is that she actually thinks that she is doing something meaningful to curb poverty by donating her vegetables. That's what her channel is all about, that she grows crops and she donates whatever her family doesn't need. So that is her contribution to the world, and she thinks she's actually doing something. No, the most meaningful contribution you have to society is to not procreate. So I'm not going to donate to some fucking feed the starving children in Africa. I'm not contributing to that bullshit. You want to give them some fucking birth control? Yes, I'm all on board, right? You can actually do more good by telling them to not procreate than to allow them to procreate and then try to feed the starving children. That makes absolutely no fucking sense. How about we feed the children who already exist and then stop creating new children who are going to be born in poverty? They want us antinatalists to start breeding ignorantly like these damn fools to save society. Yeah, and believe it or not, there are some antinatalists who actually think that we should continue procreating in order to not even to save humans, but to save animals, right? We should continue procreating in order to save the wild. What kind of fucking anti-natalist are you? Ayn Rand spoke about altruism and self-sacrifice for the collective. This is exactly what the woman in the video is advocating for, asking anti-natalists to fix the world's problem. Yeah, you're basically sacrificing. This is a fucking cannibal at this point. You're going to have, listen to everything she said. She didn't have any empathy for the damn children. All of her empathy was reserved for the parents who breed children into hell. All right, y'all. Yeah, thank you for sharing my content. We really need to push back against this nonsense. All right, now let me get into this book, because I want y'all to know that I do have a chapter about antinatalism in my book. So let's get into that. So the book is Blame It on the Dress, the Manufacturing of Black Homophobia and Performative Masculinity. And so the chapter, let me go to the other one. Okay, here we go. It is chapter 9. And it's really, the book is about homophobia, so that's what I'm calling it. But what I'm really saying is stop having children. So, I mean, y'all can get past it. For those of you who aren't gay, this isn't about this promoting homosexuality. The whole argument is that people shouldn't be gay because gays don't procreate. And so that is the response that this book is addressing. This is a response that homosexuality is anti-Black because gays can't procreate. So let's just get into this chapter right here. Why? Okay. For gay Black men, homosexuality is more than a sexual orientation. It is an act of defiance against the oppressive structures that seek to mold us into tools of white supremacy and patriarchy. In a world that demands Black men uphold pillars of heteronormativity, our very existence is a refusal to comply. In a society that weaponizes heterosexuality to reinforce racial and gender hierarchies, homosexuality serves as a savage act of rebellion. We do not merely challenge the system, we tear it apart at its foundation. Our queerness is a razor-sharp rejection of every mechanism designed to colonize, control, and crush Black bodies and features. We are not acting for permission. We are declaring war on the very structures that seek to define, limit, and destroy us. The reason so many Black men are wearing dresses is simply because they were forced to suppress their femininity. Let me skip past that, because right now I'm only addressing homophobia. I'm addressing procreation. When the world insists that Black men must procreate to save the race, it speaks not only of control, but of perpetual exploitation. Incremental progress is a sophisticated mechanism of oppression, a narrative that promises change while maintaining the fundamental structures of our subjugation. This is the same system that celebrates Black birth, funnels children into underfunded schools, perpetuates cycles of poverty and imprisonment, and offers symbolic victories that change nothing fundamentally. Nothing fundamental. Central to our existence is a critical examination of familiar dynamics. Parents increasingly refuse to build strong foundational resources, neglect to pass down practical skills, and fail to establish family traits or accumulate wealth. Instead, they place an uncomfortable burden on children to create legacies from nothing, right? This is what I was just saying. They expect you to create a legacy from ground zero. They're not going to give you any wealth to start with. They're not going to build a family trait, nothing. No, it's your responsibility to fight against the system. Especially if you're a man. That burden is on you just because you were born a damn man. This is so patriarchal. This is so this is what that woman was espousing. It's not society's responsibility to fix this system of oppression. They expect the men of the community to fucking fix it. And so they're going to procreate because it's the children's responsibility to make life better for the next generation. Not even just for the next generation. It's your responsibility to make your life better for your fucking parents and your grandparents. So you're supposed to make their lives better. You're a fucking sacrificial lamb who's going to be thrown to the damn wolves, and in order to make their fucking lives better and to create a fucking legacy for your parents. Where do these unmet responsibilities lead? They lead to a devastating cycle of generational trauma where children become vessels for unfulfilled parental aspirations. Each new generation is expected to remedy the economic failures of their parents, validate unresolved familiar dreams, survive in a system deliberately designed to crush potential, and generate wealth and opportunity from ground zero. This is not progress. It is emotional and economic parasitism. Children are transferred into economic rescue missions, expected to navigate impossible systemic barriers while carrying the weight of familiar and societal expectations. Again, this is about, because my book is about homophobia, that's what this chapter is about, but I'm really talking about antinatalism. Homosexuality becomes a profound act of refusal and intentional withdrawal from a destructive cycle that demands our participation without ever ensuring our well-being. But this refusal is not limited to queer people. Many heterosexual Black antinatalists also reject the expectation to reproduce, refusing to bring more lives into a system designed to exploit and discard them. Our refusal to procreate is not about selfishness. It is about refusing to impose suffering and oppression onto future generations. We recognize that love and family do not require complicity in oppressive systems. We understand that fulfillment cannot come at the expense of our well-being. We acknowledge that true liberation demands more than representation within broken systems. Our choice is a conscious rejection, a deliberate refusal to perpetuate the cycles of oppression that have consumed generations before us. We are not asking for permission or waiting for change. We are the change, a radical reimagining of community, autonomy, and self-determination. Some might argue that refusing to bring children into this world is the coward's approach. That's what she was saying. This is the coward's approach. that real courage lies in continuing to fight from within the system. But what is truly cowardly is bringing children into an oppressive system while doing nothing to protect them, expecting them to endure the same injustices that we have suffered. We refuse to reward a system that oppresses us by providing more bodies to exploit. Our non participation is a strategic withdrawal, a fundamental rejection of a mechanism designed to consume Black life. We will not feed the machine with our children. We will not produce more lives for a system that has never loved us, never protected us, never valued our humanity. Whether queer or straight, those who refuse to procreate for this oppressive system are making a revolutionary choice to break the cycle rather than sustain it. The expectation that Black men should procreate is not rooted in love, legacy, or community. It is about control. Under the system of white supremacy, Black bodies are treated as commodities, whether as laborers, prisoners, or consumers. The more Black children born into the system, the more fuel it has to sustain itself. The state profits from Black suffering, whether through mass incarceration, low-wage labor, or the school-to-prison pipeline. Every Black child born into the system without intervention is another potential victim of exploitation. Black men's role in society is to produce children to be exploited by the system of white supremacy. This is the cruel reality that underlies the societal pressure on Black men to father children, not to build families or leave legacies, but to create new bodies for a machine that feeds on Black pain. Patriarchy reinforces this expectation by tying a man's worth to his ability to reproduce and lead a family. Black men are told that fathering children is an essential part of manhood, a duty to both race and community. Yet, this expectation disregards the reality of systemic oppression. How can one protect and nurture children when the world is designed to break them? How can one build a legacy when a foundation itself is unstable? The truth is that procreation under oppression is not an act of liberation, but of complicity. It sustains the very system we claim to resist. Black men are pressured to reproduce, not for the benefit of the community, but for the system that thrives on our vulnerability. To refuse this expectation is to reclaim autonomy, to say, I will not create more lives for you to exploit until Black parents can guarantee a reasonable level of safety for their children. There should be a mass moratorium on procreation within the Black community. The system would have no choice but to pay attention. Imagine the impact if birth rates dropped dramatically, and when asked why, Black people responded with a unified message: the system is too oppressive to bring children into it. They would lay out the truth in plain terms. Police brutality makes it unsafe to raise Black children. The lack of economic opportunity traps families in cycles of poverty. Low wages keep parents struggling to provide. Inadequate health care shortens Black lives, and failing schools dims futures before they even begin. If society refuses to protect Black lives, then Black people should refuse to offer more lives for the system to exploit and oppress. A collective decision to not bring children into an environment designed for their suffering would force the system to confront its own brutality or risk its own collapse. According to author Schopenhauer in his book, The World and Its Representation, the reason men procreate is because they are driven by the will, an energy force that compels men to engage in sex and causes us to act irrationally. Men procreate out of fear of their own annihilation, believing they can achieve immortality through their progeny, though this belief is impossible and irrational. Your children are not you. You will die, and your children are not you. When you die, you just die. What's worse, most of us will be completely forgotten within 2 generations. Schopenhauer argues, and this comes from David Benatar. So that's the footnote, which I'm not going to go to. That comes from David Benatar's second book on antinatalism, which a lot of people have not read. Yeah, what is it called? The Human Predicament. Y'all go check out David Benatar's second book, because a lot of people haven't read that one. Schopenhauer argues that the will is the root cause of all human suffering. To eliminate this suffering, one must resist the will, which fuels our desire to procreate, ultimately perpetuating our suffering, and instead detach oneself from worldly desires. That was the conversation that we had last night. I was on Tit for Tat's channel where we were discussing that, and I did talk about the will and its representation, what author Schopenhauer posited as the compulsion to procreate. I think I'm going to stop there. Let me see if there's anything else that I really want to say before I get into this. I think I'm going to stop there. Y'all, if y'all want the full explanation of why Black people specifically should not procreate, y'all going to have to get the book. This book is not exclusively about antinatalism, but there is a chapter here about it. So, right. The book isn't just about homophobia. It is about antinatalism. It is about oppression overall. So I think this book is very comprehensive. There's a little bit of, there's something in it for everybody. So check out the book. The book is Blame It on the Dress: The Manufacturing of Black Homophobia and Performative Masculinity. It is on Amazon. And the book is, if you go to the description, I have already posted the book. The link to the Amazon book on is in the description. So let me go through these comments. Yeah, thank you for that. And be sure, y'all, for those of you who have read it, be sure to leave some reviews, because I need more reviews. I think Amazon has a policy that you have to make some kind of, I don't know what the limit is. I think it's $25 or $30. You have to make some kind of purchase in order to leave a review. But some of you said that you tried to make reviews, but it didn't post because you have not made any purchases. So if you do buy stuff on Amazon, then you can actually leave a review. So the women won't stop breeding, so life will continue in hell down here because they think they're given a gift. Yeah, and I addressed that specifically in the book, which I didn't read, but I explained why Black women should stop procreating, why Black women are basically being used for not just white supremacy, but they're also being tools of the patriarchy. You're giving your womb to a patriarchy that exploits you. You should not procreate. Absolutely not. Get your tubes tied. Don't rely on men to. I think men should play a role in this. They should get themselves sterilized or use a condom or do something. But a lot of times they're not. So I don't know what to tell you. Stop having sex with them. Become a lesbian. Get your tubes tied. Basically, if they're not willing to make the effort, then why are you giving your body up to them and they don't give a shit about why you're going to sacrifice your life, your career? They don't give a shit. Even for the ones who claim to be anti-natalist, they'll say that they're against procreation, but they're not doing anything. They're being reckless. They're going to just skeet inside of you without any protection, and then it's your responsibility. You're supposed to get an abortion, I guess, even though states are making it increasingly difficult to have access to an abortion. I'm not even sure that they're even going to pay for the damn abortion. They don't even care about the wear and tear that abortion has on your body, or even birth control. That birth control may cause you to gain weight. They don't give a shit about that. It's your responsibility to do it. They get the benefit of having sex with you, but the burden falls on you. So that's the whole criminal heterosexual element to this. I'm going to replay that on my channel, on the Black Anarchist podcast. I'm going to replay that video that I did about the criminal heterosexual. So it's so oppressive. I don't understand how you can call yourself an anti-natalist and then you're going to leave that burden on solely on women to prevent procreation. I just think that's so reckless and irresponsible. All right, y'all. I'm going to read this one last comment, and I'm going to get into that video that we did that live stream we did last. But when people bring forth information or change, people are afraid of the information because accountability is one of the most important elements of change, and the innocent suffer because of it. Right. Absolutely. All right. So we did this live stream last night, and I already asked Tit for Tat if I had his permission to use this. So, you know what? While I'm playing this video, I'm actually going to tag him in a description so that y'all can go check out his channel also. So the channel was Tit for Tat, and we discussed anti-natalism on his channel last night.
And I have a question for you, anarchist. I know you said something I kind of hinted earlier, like that your parents gave you a life that you don't want. I wanted to ask you a question about that. Do you not want to have this experience?
I never wanted it. I don't understand why I'm here. Like, what is this all about? I'm just going to die, and I don't think that this serves any purpose. Other than the fact that my parents wanted some children to validate them and give their life purpose. I didn't get any benefit out of it. This whole experience has been a complete waste of time. I didn't enjoy my childhood. I didn't enjoy my adulthood. I thought at some point there would be a light at the end of the tunnel. Things would get better. It just gets worse. It gets infinitely worse. And I watch all these people die, and I'm like, what? I even watched my father die. Like, what was that for? You worked and you suffered for no damn reason. And even on his deathbed, he was trying to convince me and my niece to have some damn children. I said, no, I wouldn't wish life on my worst enemy. I'm not having any, I'm not giving, that was another condition, was that if I gave him some grandchildren, he would leave me his money. But then we compromised. If I didn't delete myself, he would leave me his money. He still didn't do it. He's sitting here suffering and excruciating pain, trying to convince my niece to give him some great grandchildren. Completely irrational. You would think that you would want to spare somebody of what you're going through, but no, he wanted somebody else to experience exactly what he went through. No, I'm an anti-natalist. I used to talk about that on my channel, but a lot of people don't want to hear about that. I think it does tie into to anarchy, because it's about consent. None of us consented to be here. I can talk about parental anarchy, that you impose life, and then they think that your children are their slaves. Like, I own you, you're my property, you have to do what I say. Like, no, if you are going to impose life on children, at least.
Yes, that's absolutely right. They're basically giving birth to their own oppressor. What is wrong with you? You're giving birth to your own fucking oppressor. I just don't understand why you think that is in your rational self-interest, unless you're just you're masochistic. You just love suffering. I don't understand. Black women are some of the most anti-feminist people on the planet. They're not. I mean, they're very. I think Black women are even more conservative and more traditional than even white women. Like they're not feminists at all. They don't even. I don't want to sit here and badmouth Black women, but you know where I'm going with this. Y'all know how traditional a lot of Black women are. They still cling to the traditional roles that women are supposed to be barefoot and pregnant, and men are supposed to be the protectors and providers. So it's very regressive. It's really your own undoing. It's going to destroy procreation is going to have a greater impact on Black women more than Black men. You're the one who's going to be stuck with the burden of raising these children. You're not even guaranteed to get any financial support, but the physical child rearing is going to fall on you. And the children are also going to suffer. So because you're strapped and you don't have time to discipline your children properly, now the only way that you can discipline children is through physical force. So your children are going to get beaten with extension cords because that is the most expedient way to do it. So everybody loses from this patriarchal system. I'm not. It's not in your. It's not in the children's best interest. It's not in the woman's best interest. It's not even in. It's not even in black men's best interest. You're going to be paying child support. I guess you can think that you got some kind of legacy out of it. You're just a breeding plantation buck. That's what you are. You are a tool for the system of white supremacy. You decided to breed some children into this oppressive system so that you can feel better about yourself, so that you can feel like you're a fucking man when you're actually not. Because the masculine energy in this whole situation is not you, it's the fucking government. The government is playing the role of the father in this whole dynamic. It's not you as a biological father. All right, let's continue.
At least give them some kind of autonomy. They don't exist to serve you. You put them here and you owe everything to them. You need to do everything you can to provide the best quality of life possible, meaning you need to leave them your resources. You need to give them a trade so they can provide for themselves. It's not so you can put them here and then abuse them. Like, a lot of black parents got this shit completely wrong. They got this capitalism, colonialism wrong when they think they own their children and their children have no rights. They can beat them with extension cords and shit. Yeah, there needs to be a re-education in the black community about what parenting is all about. Like, your children don't owe you. You owe your children.
So I have another question. So what are your thoughts on self-deletion? Like, as somebody who believes, that you should have had an opportunity to consent, etc. How do you feel about the concept of self-deletion?
I think it should be completely illegal. I don't think the government has any authority to tell people not do it. I think the only reason why people are against it is because they want to keep you here for their own selfish desires so you can serve their needs. They want you to be here so you can comfort them. They don't care about what you're going through. And then when you do pull a plug, they're going to say, oh, I wish I knew. Oh, there were signs. I just didn't pay attention. If I had known better, I would have done X, Y, Z. No, they wouldn't. If you were here, because they already know. You already told them that you didn't want to be here, and they did not change their behavior, and they didn't take you seriously until you actually did it. So, I mean, I'm here because the only person I really do care about is my brother, and I don't want to put my brother through this, but I'm leaving that on the table at some point. I don't necessarily think I'm going to live. I'm going to die from a natural death. I'm planning on, I don't know when it's going to happen, but I'm surprised I even made it this long. But I'm not risk averse. I don't live my life being all careful. Like, I'm just going to I'm afraid of dying I don't give a shit about COVID or I don't care. I don't think like most people. Like, I'm ready to go. I mean, I've been ready to go for a long time. I'm not necessarily going to delete myself, but I'm not. If somebody holds a gun to my head, I'm not afraid. Like, I've had it happen, and they thought I was going to bitch up, and I just pretty much laughed at them. I'm like, am I supposed to be scared? What is this a joke?
You're not going to make it happen, but you also aren't going to stop it whenever it does naturally show up. So my question to you is, if you don't mind sharing it, you can always tell me to mind my motherfucking business.
I don't care.
Is can you tell me what is it that is bothering you about your life experience? I know that you said that you had a rough childhood and you, I guess, having a rough time as an adult as well. Could you kind of expound a little bit more about what's really killing your vibe about life at this point?
Well, I'm an anarchist, so I don't like authority. I don't like the government controlling me. I don't want the government telling me to get vaccinated. I don't like having to work for an employer who tells me what to do. I don't like having to obey any type of authority. I don't like being harassed by the police when I'm trying to go to work and buy groceries. Some road pirate pulls me over and held me in a court. and then I have to spend all this time fighting some bullshit traffic ticket. I don't like the fact that I'm constantly being exploited. The fact that people are constantly asking me for money, I got to pay for shit. This overpriced bullshit. I just want to be left alone. If I could live on a deserted island somewhere with some cats and just mind my business, that would be fine. But the fact that I have to live in this oppressive system and obey unjust laws and have police and
let me stop and I mean, this isn't completely relevant, but I just found out that male cats actually kill their kittens. So I've been feeding this female cat, right? And I keep wondering why these kittens keep dying. I didn't know this, right? I mean, so there was this alphalist who was getting mad at me because I never got her sterilized. I didn't know that male cats kill kittens. I just learned it. I thought they were dying because of the weather or something. No, they kill the damn kitten so they can mate with the damn female. Y'all see how evil the will to life is? This is the whole cycle. The perpetuation of the cycle of life is the foundation is based on death. That you have to die in order for more life to sustain itself. So they're going to kill the kittens. They don't give even for humans. You have to die in order for them to live. So they don't. So these parents will impose life for you because they think they're going to get immortality through their progeny. They don't give a shit about the fact that you have to die. This is a compulsion. This is an energy force, which is evil. And most people are not smart enough to get off the wheel. They're no smarter than cats and dogs.
Lawyers and doctors and all these people telling me what to do. I don't like it. To me, this is for the birds. I didn't ask for any of this shit. I didn't ask to be vaccinated. I didn't ask to be subject to unjust laws. I don't like any of this shit. I don't see what, and because most people don't care, it would be one thing if I felt there was some type of hope that people would actually rise up and fight against the system. But
you're right. I do need to talk more about Ayn Rand and more actual philosophers. I mean, Ayn Rand wasn't really an anarchist, but she did believe in individualism and ethical egoism. So I do need to talk more about her and other philosophers. I just find that when I get into that type of intellectualism, a lot of people get bored and they just tune out. I mean, I do want to talk about Ayn Rand, but we'll see. I guess I'll try it and then see if people actually listen to it, and if I don't get any views, and I guess I can't continue doing that. But I've tried it before, and it's just. I could talk about Noam Chomsky. I guess more, younger people know about Noam Chomsky, and they'll actually listen. But if I talk about Ayn Rand or some of these anarchists, they don't. There doesn't seem to be much interest in that. I hate that we're outnumbered. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
they're not. Most of these people support it. They vehemently sit up and they're defenders of the system. They're advocates for the way things are. They're going to side with the government over you. So these people have Stockholm syndrome. They don't have any empathy for the common man. They side with the government. So I used to think, oh, I'm going to fight for all these people and they're not. I've made so many sacrifices thinking that if people just knew the truth, they would wake up. And it was a complete waste of time. I'm like, why was I doing this? I graduated law school. I could have already had my law degree and I could be making money. But I thought, no, I want to fight the system. This is a crock. Like, these judges are full of shit. These lawyers are full of shit. But I tried to try to teach people about it, and they just, oh, you're just angry because you didn't pass the bar exam. Like, it's like, no, I don't want to be like these damn lawyers who are taking everybody's damn money and throwing people in cages. I want to fight against this shit. And I wish I had known this. I wish I knew that people really just don't give a fuck. And they really do like being abject slaves. They enjoy being oppressed. They like it. It makes them feel safe. I didn't know this. I had to educate myself on the way people think. They don't want to fight against the system. So I don't say there's no hope. Why? If this is the shit that they want, then I can't sit up here and fight against it. My only exit is death. I need to get out of. Even Jacques Rousseau said that the social contract. If a man does not want to be bound by the social contract, then the state is supposed to force him to be free through death. So that is my ultimate. That's going to be the consequence of not wanting to be a part of this oppressive system. I'm not even write about it in my book that you. I think I'm going to talk about that for Juneteenth as the solution for Black liberation. Like, just don't put them in this damn system in the first place. If you're not, how are you going to put me here and then tell me I don't have the right to die? Like, and then do everything you can to silence to censor what information I can get about the most effective methods that I can use. I guess I'm just gonna have to go to damn Switzerland and get one of those damn pods.
Well, have you thought about looking into some regions of the country or of other countries where you can kind of live amongst yourself and live on your own a little piece of land and have your cats and animals? Because I mean, there's a lot of people living that life. There's a lot of people who live in that Amish life, who are living, that very quiet countryside, off the grid lifestyle. Like that is
That's the type of life I want.
I'm just tired. I just have not enjoyed life. I don't see. It's almost like, okay, I could go to some small town and live a quiet life. The only thing is that first of all, there's not going to be any Black people here because Black people are in major cities. There's not going to be any gay people there, and so I'm going to be a bunch.
All right, y'all. I don't know if I should continue going, but this. I guess what the point that I want y'all to understand is that I am trying to spread antinatalism to everybody else, because a lot of people, I mean, what that woman was saying, what is her name? Whatever her channel was called. Park Rose Permaculture. She's making it seem like antinatalism is white supremacy, but I want y'all to know that most Black people have not even heard about antinatalism. When we talk about antinatalism, we're really preaching to the choir. It's the same small group of people who are, circulating this information amongst ourselves. And go to any random Black person on the street and ask them if they've heard of antinatalism. So if antinatalism was a white supremacist agenda, then you would think that more Black people would know about it and they would be following it. No. Most Black people, they don't know anything about antinatalism, but there's a visceral reaction against population control. So they hear about that, they believe. So the extent of their knowledge is that Margaret Sanger tried to push eugenics on the Black community, that abortion is genocide. And that's it. That's pretty much the extent of the whole discourse. There's no concept of, if Black people stop procreating, we could end white supremacy. Nobody has ever presented this as a solution. What everyone believes is that they're going to procreate their way out of oppression. They're going to continue having Black babies, and then magically we're going to what? I guess what their argument is that there's strength in numbers, right? That if there are more Black people, and I already addressed this in my book. I don't even know if I just read that just now. That there's strength in numbers. If there's more Black people, then we will gain power. No, because even under slavery, the slaves outnumbered their masters, and they still didn't. They still were not liberated. So again, this is insanity. You're going to keep doing the same shit, expecting a different result. I don't know what. I don't think these people are being rational, right? They're just going to keep riding the wheels until it fall off. They're going to run the fucking train off the damn cliff. They're going to continue procreating, thinking that it's going to change something, and it's not. Let me see if I have any comments, because I think I'm pretty much done here. If anybody wants to come up, I guess I can post a link. Let me see if... No, let me see if I have the link to that. I don't know if anybody wants to say something, but a lot of people will tell me that I'm wrong, or they'll just unsubscribe, but they will never actually debate me, right? Because it's easy to say in the abstract that anti-natalism is white supremacy and that Black people need to continue procreating, but when you actually look at the product of somebody else's decision to procreate, the person who actually didn't want to be brought into existence, there is no fucking response. What can you say? Oh, I'm sorry. I hope things get better for you. I guess the best retort they could say is that I should just get some mental health treatment, right? I should just go get some damn counseling, as if counseling is actually going to do anything to change my situation. As if counseling is going to make me feel better about being a fucking wage slave. As if counseling is going to prevent me from having to work as a fucking wage slave. So all of my problems are just a figment of my imagination. I'm not actually being oppressed. I'm not actually being pulled over by road pirates. I don't actually have to work to maintain a life that I don't even want. This is all a fucking psychosis. It has nothing to do with reality. All of my problems are imaginary. It's just because I'm depressed. I should just get over it. If I go get counseling, I'm going to become immortal. I'm not going to actually have to fucking die at some point. What is wrong with these fucking... It's a fucking dismissal. They don't give a shit. They don't have any dismissal, right? Because they don't have any actual solutions. They want to pawn it off on a fucking counselor to say, you go talk to a counselor so that it's not because so that I'll feel better. It's so that they can feel better. So because they don't actually have any answers for their decision to procreate, they're going to pawn it off on a fucking counselor, and maybe the counselor has a better explanation, right? It can't be that I'm actually right. It can't be that it's actually wrong to procreate. No, some counselor, some fucking credential expert has a fucking solution that's going to make me feel better. By the way, somebody was asking me to respond to what Sam Balkin had to say about this shit about Sam Balkin is against self-deletion. I don't know if I thought that Sam Balkin was a psychologist. He's actually not. I think he's a he has a PhD in philosophy. He's not a psychotherapist. He's not he's none of those things. He has a PhD in philosophy, as far as I know. So he's not even an expert on psychology. I mean, he's an intelligent person, but his book is about narcissism. And he's a self-described narcissist himself. So I don't think he's an authority to be speaking on these type of subject. His argument boiled down to, you should continue existing because other people will lose out on your existence. So he wants you to be a sacrificial animal. He doesn't care that you're miserable. He wants you to continue existing because other people will be deprived of whatever they expected to get out to you. So he really has no answer for the fact that you're miserable. Just suck it up. Did somebody just come up? I think somebody just tried to come. Let me see. I just heard somebody. I don't see anybody coming up, but I just heard something. I don't know. If somebody just tried to come up, let me know in the comment section, because I don't see it. If you want to come up, I think I posted the link already. I can post it again. Yeah, I don't know what therapy is supposed to do. I don't understand why you would want to cope with a situation that you don't want. They think that it's all in your mind. Like you're just depressed. You're just weak. No, I can look at this I can look at the human condition objectively and see that there is no point. I can see that we're just born to die. We're all going to end up 6 feet under, and there's no point in it. So why can't I just skip to the that's the part that I wanted to skip. Let me see if I can skip to that part in the discussion where we're talking about that, because the person who I was talking to is Conscious TV. I want to skip. There's a little bit more that I wanted. Let me see if I can get to that part.
No matter how much we suffer, God's going. Criminals get the same way an animal gets when.
Already, yeah. No, I don't agree with that, but.
In the gay community, people are very superficial, and if you're
deeply about the way you can accomplish whatever life you want to.
The part that I'm trying to get to is he was basically, we were talking about self-deletion. I guess he's a proponent that of this. Y'all know I've already talked about this whole soul contract, and we consented to existing prior to life. What I don't. I mean, y'all know the whole argument that we actually wanted to be here because our souls decided to put ourselves here. So it wasn't the fact that our parents procreated. We decided that we want this. This is the discussion that we were having last night. Y'all know I don't agree with that. I don't believe in immortality. I don't believe in a soul in a literal sense, the way that they describe it. I believe that soul is your conscious mind, and your soul basically dies with your body. But he was basically saying that if I delete myself, then I'm just going to repeat this whole cycle all over again. I was trying to find that clip. I don't know where that was, but what do y'all put in the comment section? Do you think that if we die, that we're just going to be born again and we have to repeat this cycle all over again? And if that's the case, what difference does it make? We all have to die at some point. So I don't understand how dying is going to change the outcome.
To have for yourself, and I'm sorry that your original plan did not kind of work out so well. But you seem to be a very intelligent person, and you seem to be a very creative person. So I definitely don't believe that your only purpose was to be a lawyer. And if that didn't work out for you, I'm definitely under the belief that there's something else that you are to contribute that may be beyond that.
I mean, of course, there's other things that I can contribute. I can always give back. The underlying conclusion remains that there is no point to this. So I can give back and other people can benefit from me, but I don't benefit from it. So I already know I can be of use to other people. There are people right now who want me to help them with their legal problems and this and that, or they just want me to talk. They want to talk to me about their shit, or maybe they want me to help them financially, right? I understand that. It's a sacrifice for me. I'm not going to get anything out of it. I mean, I feel that I can help my brother, because if I help my brother's going to help me. That's one thing. But a lot of people just want to take. They want you here to serve their own ends. They have no intention on giving reciprocity, which is why, I guess that's why this whole capitalist system works. Like, okay, if you want my help, then you need to fucking pay for it. I guess my problem is that I actually do feel guilty about taking people's money, especially when some of the things that I do, especially when it comes to legal stuff, that's kind of effortless for me. I know that is a valuable service that a lot of people charge a lot of money for it. But for me, I could do this shit, with my eyes closed and my hands tied behind my back. It's so easy. Did I kind of discount the value in it? It's like, if you know how to do it and it doesn't really take any effort, I don't know. It's hard for me to feel good about taking people's money for something. I mean, some of these people are charging $500 an hour for this shit. To me, it just seems unconscionable. I guess if I just wanted to live my life being a capitalist and taking people's money and not having any guilt about it. To me, that's not a life worth living. It's not a purpose. That's not a reason to exist, to just take people's money. Why? I don't understand how people are able to do that and not feel guilty about it. You know what? I actually want to do that as a separate topic, a separate live stream. I'm not even going to try to cram that in right now. Somebody said they wanted to come up, and I'm still not seeing. It keeps getting kicked. Let me see what's going on. Oh, here we go. Here we go. It came up differently this time. I'm not sure why it's not showing. I just tried to bring you up, but it didn't do anything. Let me try one more time. But do it now before I because if I'm reading these comments and stuff, I'm okay. Let me try to bring you up. Here we go. Are you up? I think you're up already. Let me see. Yeah, you're up. You're up. I can't hear you, but you are up. Are you talking? Hello? You're already up. Okay. I'm not sure what just happened. Hello? Hello? I think you have to add your microphone. You have to I can't do it on my end. You have to do it on your end. Okay? Maybe this isn't going to work. I've already brought you up, so it shows that you're here. So I don't. Your microphone isn't on. You need to change. You need to turn your microphone on. All right. I don't think this is going to work. I mean, can you try to turn your microphone on? All right. Well, I'm sorry that didn't work out, but I guess I'm going to go ahead and end this live stream, y'all. Thank y'all for joining me here. I'm streaming on both channels today, so be sure to give me a like and post some comments, and be sure to check out the book, Blame No Address: The Manufacturing of Black Homophobia and Performative Masculinity. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.